understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV Report for the week ending Saturday, November 3rd, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Nepsley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have 5 new episodes this week.
6.
6! Dang it, Ed! Dang it! Why do I do this every week? I don't count. Every week. We have 6. We have one more finger than is on your hand, assuming you are not the man who murdered Princess... Oh my god. Father. You killed my father. Inigo Montoya. I got
Inigo
there.
Montoya.
Can we redo all of this?
Nope, we're in it.
Please don't tell the world that I blanked on Inigo Montoya's name. That's not a good look for me.
Anybody want a peanut?
I met a youngish teenager who has not seen A Princess Bride, and I was so sad because what youth do we have? What youth who have not been exposed to this?
Yeah.
And how do you know?
Yeah, I think we're at a point now because you and I had the benefit of VHS.
Yes.
And renting stuff and TV channels that you couldn't really decide on, so you just watched whatever was on. So we got to see a lot of stuff that our parents grew up on, and we got to see a lot of movies that were made before we were born. And in the age of streaming, where you pick what you watch, I feel like most young people growing up today, I would say younger than me, aren't really aware of movies and TV from before they were born, unless like their parents specifically sat them down and made them watch it.
As somebody who encounters a lot of the youth because I am a professor, I'm always interested in the older things that they know and the older things that they don't know. It's fascinating to me, and I can never predict. They all know Friends. They can all quote Friends, which is old by now, and I'm not sure in some cases how well it holds up. I'm so sorry out there, everybody who loves Friends. And other things that they just have zero. I can't talk Simpsons with them. That's not a thing that they do. But I'm really interested in what stands the test of time. You know, The Princess Bride is one of those things that shouldn't it? Shouldn't that be a thing that everybody watches? That should.
You'd think so, but my mom hated that movie.
Okay, wait. How?
What? Remember, that was a movie that flopped at the box office and found its audience on VHS.
Well, does she not have a VCR to find it later?
I joke. That's a joke. I always tell, because we never owned that, and I think I saw that in like kindergarten. They showed it to us at school. And
your school sounds like the best school.
It was one of those, like, you know, it's the end of the summer. You know, the summer's coming. There's really nothing left to teach you. You guys can just, you know, hang out and watch this for a couple hours.
The damage has been done. Just here.
Yeah.
The best day at my high school was the day before Christmas break, winter break, and they would just play Christmas movies, and they had like 6 channels on the in-room TVs that we had because of Channel 1. Is this a thing you're familiar with?
I remember Channel 1 News in high school.
Yeah, Channel 1 News, we had a deal that they would provide TVs if we would show them Channel 1, which also had commercials, and so it was a little controversial, but I mean, my school was strapped. We were still using Betamax, so they took that. But yeah, they used to, have different like How the Grinch Stole Christmas and things like that would run nonstop, and teachers would have different movies tuned in throughout the day as you went through the classrooms. It was the best day.
Wow.
This has gotten weird.
Nostalgia time with Sarah and Ed.
I know. Anyway, I think you and I should curate a list of the movies and TV shows that should be preserved, and sort of, in order to be a person in society at whatever age, you have to know this, and it should shift to reflect current things. So it's not just an old person list, but I think that we need to agree on a canon, not like old dead white man canon, but like a canon of movies and TV shows that you need to be culturally literate. We should work on that.
Yeah, we should. This is
who better than us to carry the torch?
Yes, this is a project. This is something that we'll form over the next months and years. But we'll
we'll work on this. We'll get back to you. Check with us in like 2023.
Okay,
we'll have a full report.
All right. So yeah. You ready to jump into the episodes? You want to just do?
I think we'd better.
All right, let's start some recaps. We got 6 episodes to go through and a lot of news. So let's jump right in, starting with Supergirl, Season 4, Episode 3, Man of Steel. Over the past 2 years, Ben Lockwood lost his family's factory, his house, his job, and his father, which caused him to hate aliens so much that he took on the mantle of Agent Liberty. John brought a dying Kara to the DEO, and Alex and Brainy were running out of ideas to stop the kryptonite radiation from killing her. Last minute reveal, Agent Liberty stopped Mercy and Otis from killing Agent Jansen because he wanted to break into the DEO.
Okay, I super enjoyed this episode, but I super didn't enjoy this episode. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I loved the storytelling. I loved it. I love the characters on the fringes reacting to things that we saw from a completely different perspective. That's so much fun. But dang, that was depressing.
See, this is how it happens.
This is how it happens.
You want to know how a normal college professor turns into
that was not a normal college professor. That was an incredibly chiseled college professor. There is no way that every student in that room before he turned into a ranting lunatic wasn't completely in love with hot Professor Lockwood. I'm sorry, continue.
I'm just saying, this is how a guy like that turns into a cult leader, bent on genocide. Or not really genocide. He doesn't want to kill all the aliens. He just wants them out.
Just through whatever means. Put them on a boat. Put them on a plane. Whatever.
Yeah. Lots of things to note here. First off, his family's factory, the steel factory, was closed because of an nth metal factory that opened next door. Sarah, do you know what nth metal is?
No, but Jason made a pleased grunting noise when he heard that. Oh, nth. So it clearly is something that comic readers were excited about.
Well, it is a very particular type of metal that is very dense, but also very light. And it is the key metal that is used by the Thanagarians and by Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Which which at Bauer Fett has pointed out to us, that is a sign that the Hawk people are coming to Supergirl and Krypton.
I need Bauer Fett to not put that out into the world, please. Or at the very least, I'm not saying it was a casting issue, but if they could recast them, maybe Hawkgirl was better than Hawkman? I don't know. No Hawk people in 2018 and 2019.
No,
I stand by that. All
right. You don't want Sarah to go visit St. Rock, see what's going on there?
Pass.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. I enjoyed the ripples of offhanded actions or comments of the good guys had a big impact today. And the one that really stood out in this week's episode, the one that stood out to me was Alex after they broke up the fight between the workers when Ben is injured, because he was trying to do the right thing. He was being a good guy. He stepped between his mob and the alien. And Alex says something like, "You are very, very lucky that Supergirl went easy on you." And then she leaves. And Ben's like, "Wait, what? What? Like, what would Supergirl have done to me otherwise?" And it was just a thing that she said. She didn't have any real intent behind it. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's one of the things that festered in him. And I just thought how interesting that a probably carelessly tossed off sentiment, that was one of the, not to blame Alex, but that was one of the things that just inculcated this ranting, as you say, cult leader. I just thought that was so interesting that this little offhanded remark had such an impact.
Yeah, and I feel like every one of the main characters from the series pretty much met up with him and made him feel small over the course of this.
was kind of a dick.
Yeah. Lena did
okay,
that.
Can we agree? Oh, John was the worst. "Citizen, you are safe," flies away. Dude, my house is on fire. That was particularly insensitive. Yeah. I feel like of all people, John would be like, "Oh, I'll call for help, dude. I got this."
Yeah. Lena, even Kara went in the bar when he confronts his student, who and you know what? I feel like if you have a blow up like that in class, I feel like it's not just one person who goes to the dean. I feel like there's a handful of students who go together and say, "Hey, something went down, and you need to do something."
100%. That's the whole class goes in mass and is like, "Listen, I don't care about student visiting hours. You need to let us in now. We need to talk to you." And it's not just that one class. It's all his classes. There'd be so many students. And I just kept thinking, like, he's not a dumb person. Unless he has tenure, he needs to be really careful. And even then, and then great. But I don't think he had tenure, because there would have been lawsuits. We would have seen him in court fighting his dismissal despite tenure. So anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't like, but we got an actual explanation for the roaches slur, that their planets were destroyed, but like roaches, they managed to survive and infest someplace new. So I think we probably could have guessed that that's where it came from, but that sort of spelled out the origin of that particular nasty slur. And I did feel a little bit of shock when Ben's son used it. Like, to me, that was like, oh God, this is how it happens, grandpa. Then it moves to grandson, and this is how it happens. So there was some effective storytelling here. It just wasn't light and joyful the way Supergirl can be. And that's not what this episode was supposed to be, and that's fine, but it was dark. It was dark.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we had this episode, and it does humanize him a little bit. And he's wrong, but you can
of course, but you understand it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Kara is going to have to deal with, because she can't just defeat this guy. She needs to convince everyone around him that he's wrong. That this is a genuine political movement now that can't just be dismissed. You can't just put these people out to pasture. Like, this is the kind of thing, this is a battle of hearts and minds now, which is going to be very, very difficult.
And a different kind of villain. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the show handles it. I hope they have the nuance to do this. Feels very difficult to win, and I hope that they knock this one out of the park. I hope that they can write a successful, satisfying resolution to this, and it's not just Kara giving speeches.
Yeah.
Supergirl's earnest speeches are nice, but it needs more than that.
And like, she's in a containment suit right now. She can't be exposed to the atmosphere, so this is going to be really hard. I'm interested to see how long it takes for them to resolve that. How long is she going to be in that suit?
I think about as long as she was on Broadway in the Carole King musical? ?
Okay.
I mean, I saw somebody online say, oh yeah, this was to accommodate her Broadway appearance, right? I thought she did that over the summer, but
yeah, she did.
That does sort of feel like if she had other obligations to things, they had to put her in a suit that hides her face. But what's going to happen with Serbia Girl?
Oh,
the super doppel. I mean, she's not going to have. Do they have a Lena Luthor-esque scientist to protect her? Because they made a point of saying it's not just the U.S., it's the world.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that seems like it's going to be like they're going to resolve Agent Liberty first before they get to Red Daughter. But you know that's going to be the big threat, maybe. You know, is when she surfaces to. Oh, you're talking about with the kryptonite. Oh
yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm just saying with the kryptonite. Yeah. I'm saying, are they going to conveniently forget that there's a second super on Earth, and when she shows up, are we never going to get an explanation of how she survived the krypton poisoning? Or do they have somebody who's making a similar suit?
Yeah, I mean, she's underground. They might have her in a compression chamber or something.
That's true. I guess underground. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll allow that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't like nitpicking superhero shows, but that was one thing that I was like, what are they doing with evil super? Not evil, just, different ideology super.
All right.
I will say, I think that you said the timing of this was good. I agree. I think that some of the frustration we had with the CW DC shows last season, I'm looking at Flash and Arrow in particular, they gave us the villain backstories way too late after we really didn't care. And I think either Supergirl learned from their mistakes or just has better instincts. This was the perfect placement for this. Perfect.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Was there anything more you want to talk about the episode?
No, I really did enjoy it. I love the alternative type of storytelling around the fringes, and that was a lot of fun.
I agree. What news do we have for Supergirl?
Just quickly, you mentioned that it's going to be a fight for hearts and minds. Apparently, an upcoming episode is going to feature a debate between Supergirl and Agent Liberty.
Ooh.
I'm picturing like not a presidential debate, but like a gubernatorial or a senatorial, like a little bit low level debate. So it's not quite as, big as a presidential debate, but just at each at a podium and each just like, I want to tell the voters in this room. But that's how do you win hearts and minds, I guess, at a televised debate. Sure. Let's see the other little bit. We have a photo of Manchester Black, who is coming to the show, and he looks like a dude.
Yeah.
Ed, what did you think about Manchester Black?
I'm a little disappointed his hair is in purple, but yeah, okay, that works.
Oh, is he supposed to have purple hair?
Yes, in the comics he had purple hair. He's also a white guy in the comics, so I guess they're going in a different direction. But that's a character that depends more on his personality than his look. So that's we'll be able to tell when we see him in the episode. And yeah, I mean, and that's definitely because he's from Britain, so that's gonna get you're talking about how this is something that's happening all over the world. I think this is going to be our first marker of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know much about that character, but I'm curious to see how he will interact and intersect with everybody.
Mm-hmm. All right. You ready to move on?
Yes, please.
All right. Next up, Arrow. Season 7, Episode 3, Crossing Lines. Oliver pushed hard for a meeting with the Demon, Brick's connection to Diaz. Felicity strong-armed Agent Watson to help stop Diaz and the Longbow Hunters plan to attack the CDC. Diggle, Lila, and Curtis ran an Argus op to extract data from a Swiss bank and stumbled onto a conspiracy. Last-minute reveal, the Slabside guards led Oliver down to level 2, as Brick warned him that the only way out of there is through the morgue.
Prison doesn't look like much fun the way Oliver does it.
No, it doesn't. And it's, even compared to like when Barry was in prison last year, these guys are much mean, very mean, much meaner. Yeah.
Well, Barry's prison was, at the time, I think I called it like the High School Musical version of prison. So that's that's surprising.
Yes. Now it is like, this is a big federal penitentiary, so you'd expect them to be a little tougher.
And it's literally called Slabside. It may as well be like Murder Block.
Yeah.
It's subtle. Mm-hmm. I am just impressed that they waited as long as they did for the secret prison fight club. Like, that could have been a whole episode. It could have been much earlier. I don't know. For me, that fight club was over and done with pretty quickly in a way that I was surprised by. Oliver has to decide whether he's going to fight, and he's all angsty about it, and everybody wants him to, and he doesn't, and then he does. Like, that could have been a whole episode. So they didn't give us that. Kudos.
Yeah. And we have a lot of emails and stuff about that this week. So I'm just gonna go through some of these. So a lot of people with predictions, a lot of people with comments. First off is from your buddy Tanya.
Hey T.
Who sent us an email. Quick question: Stanley, who A, has no last name, B, follows Oliver around like a puppy, C, is played by an actor I can best describe as the Diet Coke of Chad Lowe's. Alternatively, boneless Chad Lowe. That Stanley, he's the link to Diaz, right? He's like a total Kaiser Soze, right? She's not a lawyer, Tanya.
She is not a lawyer. I don't think that Tanya and my husband have actually discussed this, but every time Stanley is on, Jason's just like, oh, he's a plant. That kid's a plant, 100%. So I think they are both picking up on it's the person you least suspect of it all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know if he's the demon, but I think he definitely knows more than he's letting on.
Gormless Chad Lowe. Yeah. There's multitudes there.
Yeah, like there's something else going on there. Tanya also tweeted at us, saying, "This is a description. Me, oh, Arrow is better this season. Samandra Watson appears. Me, God damn it."
I thought she was not as bad in this episode as she was last season. Actually,
no, I agree.
And I don't know if that's my residual good feelings about her from Glow on Netflix, which is such a fantastic show. But I actually didn't hate every second she was on the screen. I also wondered just who gets to wear FBI gear. It looked like they were just handing out FBI gear left and right in a way that I wasn't sure was accurate. And I kind of attributed that to her decision making, but that's okay.
Yeah. Who else? Aunt Betty Taylor tweeted us 2 questions. One, why don't the longbow hunters have bows? They should be long shield, long darts, and low silencer.
That's not a bad point.
Well,
where are the longbows?
Yes, I will say they're not hunters with longbows. They hunt down longbows. So that's the idea behind them.
This is okay. If I may quote the television show Angel, I'm a rogue demon hunter. Oh, what's a rogue demon? Still my favorite exchange from that show.
Yes. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So yeah. But you do make a point that name is a little confusing.
I fully expected longbows on those people. This is true. Yeah. This is the same for me. So.
Well, and I only didn't because I know them from the comics. It's Red Dart, Shield, and Silencer, who are 3 very random people to put together. But there's also a whole other thing in the comics it gets kind of convoluted, whereas like there are these underworld gangs that each devote themselves to specific weapons, and that's why, you know, shield is a shield and dart is a darts. You know, and they're going after the Arrow clan, which Oliver is a member of tangentially. But they're not really exploiting that in the show, which is fine. Hey everybody, sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty.
Can I tell you it was the dumbest technical difficulty ever when a cat walked across my Surface and unplugged my microphone. This is a thing that happened because I am ridiculous.
Was it intentional on the cat's part?
I think he's a Marvel fan and he's sabotaging us.
Ah, okay. Well, his name is Adam, so I don't know.
He's one of the new cats in the household and he just doesn't know the rules yet. Adam.
So I'm just gonna start over. We were talking about Aunt Betty Taylor's tweet, that she is not our Laurel or a lawyer. Someone on Arrow finally said it. Something the whole world already knew. So
we had the appropriate amount of fake lawyer Laurel this week, so
yeah, I don't even remember her.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That was my point.
I don't even remember who pointed out that she's not a lawyer, but yeah. I mean, that's right. That's good.
That's accurate.
and yeah. Now, and what was the other? At TV Fan Maniac, who tweets out a lot about this show. I've noticed. And
yeah, lots of passion there.
Lots of passion. Was commenting on my theory last week about Amiko Queen, and she agrees with me. She says, I think it is Amiko, the half sister. Elicity was on point. The premiere was amazing. Great episode of Arrow. Not Team Arrow is still a bore fest. Siren and her writing makes me lose brain cells with the stupidity.
Yeah, I have to say, I think the prison stuff, I'm enjoying the prison stuff a little bit more. At some point this week, Renee said he was excited to get the team back together or something. And I was just like, no. You broke up the team, dude. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
and also really fast, Lila and Dig are the worst at undercover. I have never seen two more nervous undercover agents than those two in the bank. Oh my God. Poker faces.
Yeah. And like, also like if you're bringing in a painting like that, you have to expect, especially in a bank like that they're going to have an appraiser. They're going to have
and
an
she
appraiser.
is going to have white gloves. I mean, this is just, they have an art appraiser hanging around the bank just waiting, obviously.
Yeah. What did you I really enjoyed I thought the Diggle and Lila stuff was interesting. I think it was nice to see their storyline pushed a little bit more and get a little bit more into their relationship. It looks like that's going to be a bigger thing this season, since the team's not around anymore.
And I like that, and it is interesting because you have seen some shakeups of their roles in their lives. Dig is doing something entirely different than he was last year, and we've seen her increase in her status in her job. I don't know. I like the way that they've evolved and sort of grown together, and that involves some friction sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And JJ is growing up really fast.
Yeah. How old is that kid supposed to be?
I think he's like 4. I want to say. Like he was. I mean, I figure he was born at the end of like season 2 or season 3, and we're in season 7 now. So.
I was just surprised by his age. He looked older than I thought he should be.
Yeah.
But kids will do that to you. Age.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
also, justice for Sarah Diggle. That's all.
Yeah. Poor Sarah. Oh, well, anyway. What did you think of Bronze Tiger? I liked that we got a little bit more of his backstory and he explained what was going on with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. It's fine. Yeah.
Also, I think it's the kind of thing where Oliver kind of got a little bit more perspective because he kind of just was treating everyone in there like these brutal killers who don't who belong in there, and they do. But I thought it gave a little bit of a third dimension to the characters, and realize that they're capable of compassion too. When he talks about how I could have just killed you when the Suicide Squad had you trapped and everything, and I just
and it is kind of interesting to think when Oliver gets out, is he changed? Is he going to be a different kind of vigilante? Is it going to be less you failed the city? Not that he was necessarily a black and white kind of villain, or not villain hunter, but will there be a little more nuance, or is he? I mean, he's not exactly like making friends in prison or anything, but I just wonder if it affects his mission once he's out. That might be too much to expect.
All right, and Felicity. Felicity, I wish that I don't know. I mean, Renee tries really hard, but I wish that she had better sidekicks to be working with.
It feels like the Felicity scenes I like are the ones where she is acting on her own in pursuit of a goal. And that usually doesn't involve the sidekicks. It's her going to Agent Watson and saying, yeah, you're going to fix this thing that you broke. That's the stuff that I love. But you're right. It's her and Renee working together. Not a thing I'm enjoying. Her and Dinah, her and Curtis even. Are they still going into business together? I don't know.
Yeah, I think him joining Argus, and I think that's kind of on hold indefinitely. But all right,
good enough. Give us Smoke Tech.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Definitely. Any news for Arrow?
Speaking of Felicity, Emily Bett Rickard had an interview where she talked about what to expect from Felicity this season, and she said there's a rift that happened when Oliver made this decision to turn himself in without consulting her, and it's going to change things for them. They are different, and they're going to be different. Life changes, they evolve. That makes me a little nervous because we're going to get these big flash forwards apparently this season. So we actually could really see things change pretty radically for all these characters. So I hope it spells good things for characters that we like. But she did talk about the pressure that puts on that relationship. A little bit of speculation / casting. There was a photo making the rounds of Stephen Amell in the Flash suit that's for the crossover, posing with Colin Donahue, who played Tommy. And so there was a lot of speculation. If Tommy's on set while Stephen Amell is shooting the crossover, is Tommy coming back for the crossover? What do you think?
I think it's more than likely. I don't know in what capacity, but I mean, he was part of the last crossover, so I don't, and it is called Elseworlds, so I don't see any reason why he wouldn't show up.
I think if that's the case, I probably would have preferred that they be a little more secretive about it.
Yeah.
That's rather than just be like, here it is on Twitter. But you're right. He was in the last one, so it wouldn't be as big a shock this time. But yeah, that felt kind of like confirmation that he's hanging around the set. So
yeah,
that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. And that's all the news, right?
That's it.
All right. Next up, DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Season 4, Episode 2, Witch Hunt. John Constantine decided to board the Wave Rider and had some space issues with Mick. The Legends traveled to Salem, 1692, and instead of finding a real witch, encountered a fairy godmother. After a disappointing dinner with his dad, Nate spent the night at the Time Bureau and helped Ava prepare her budget proposal. Last minute reveal, Nate decided to stay back and work at the Time Bureau for a while.
This show continues to be delightful.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Great. I love this episode. Really straightforward, but really fun. And, we got the, we got Nate's character. I think we're getting to learn more about him. I think especially because he's a character who's, he's probably like one of the last characters who we can only show his powers like once every 3 episodes.
Well, I did joke is that why he's staying in 2018, because he's just too expensive to animate.
Yeah.
So stick him in an office setting.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think that makes sense for him. Also, I thought the way that they introduced it, with his dad and everything, I thought that made perfect sense.
I enjoyed he and Ava together. That's not a character pairing we'd really seen before. This show's strength is how you can stick any 2 given characters together and it's going to be enjoyable. Right? You had Mick and Constantine. You've done things where you've paired up just Amari and Ray, and that was great. You've done the Ray Mick things. It doesn't matter who you stick together. They are fun together. And I think that's a testament to the characters themselves and the actors and the chemistry and the writing. All of it is so good, because I can't think of a time when they've done an odd couple duo on that show that I've been like, oh, that doesn't really work. They even made Kid Flash fun.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. And don't lie, when they're about to go into that pitch and he sees his dad's in the room, and then he basically, how much does that remind you of speech competitions?
Actually, yes, now that you say it.
about walking in there and going like, Natalie Syntax in that room, I can't go in.
That is so funny. I was texting with Tanya, who emailed us about Arrow, just this morning about doing the same piece as another competitor my senior year and us ending up in the same final round, and just he was the one who performed first, and I got up and was like, well, you just heard it from him, here it is from me. And I'm the one who blinked and changed my piece, and my second one was never as good.
Aww.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
that's a deeply held wound. That's been a while.
Aw, but so yeah, that was that opened some moments.
But I also it was obvious what was going to happen, and I still really enjoyed it happening. Like, it was obvious that he was going to have to step up and be the guy who convinced his dad. I don't care. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah. Also, like that is when your dad's gonna find respect for you. Like, that's when he realizes, like, oh, you haven't been a waste of space. You've actually been working really hard at something really important.
And it was how many billion dollars?
3, I think $4.3 billion.
Yeah, that sounds right. 4.3. Yeah.
Well,
it's a little bit of money. That'll buy some changing into steel special effects.
Yeah. Now, back to the craziness of the episode. Last week we had a homicidal unicorn at Woodstock. Here we get a fairy godmother in the Salem witch trials.
I love it. What are they going to do next? Yeah. Oh my God.
I was talking with our executive producer, Bill Sweetie, about this, and we've come to the conclusion that the Legends writers' rooms, they just have everyone walk up and write the most random elements they can on the whiteboard, and then everyone steps back and goes, okay, how can we fit these together into an episode?
Yeah, I want it to be kind of like, those things, the memes you see, like your birth month is this and your birth date is this, and that's how you'll die in a horror movie, crushed in a garage accident with a so here's the era, here's the mythical creature, here's the character who will be fighting it. That's how they put these things together, I think, and I love it.
Yeah. And I think Bippity Boppity Bye Bitch has got to go down as one of the greatest action hero one-liners in history.
Also, Ray saying that he wanted to call them Mysteries. I love him so much. Everything about that. He's turning into the team dad, and I love it so much. I also super enjoyed Nate trying to pay for dinner with the card that expired in 1953, and I need this show to stay like this all season long. This is the palate cleanser I need after, poor Oliver Queen getting beat every week and after Supergirl exploring hate speech, and like, we need this. Thank you, Legends.
Yeah.
I also want to buy a sweatshirt that says Time Bureau Softball, we do things chronologically. I need that in my life.
Yeah. Now, Constantine, we got to see a little bit of him on the Wave Rider. What do you think he and Mick are ever going to get along?
No, and I don't want them to. Do you think they'll find a common ground?
No.
I mean, I guess it begs the bigger question: does Mick get along with anybody?
This is true. Although I will say, when Constantine was talking about how he had to clean the book that was bound with human skin, that was a little much. I don't know if I could handle that from a roommate.
He's just taking his proper maintenance. Like, you can't fault him for that. Just following the rules.
Yeah. But yeah, this episode, this show is so much fun. This is the one, I love all of these shows, but this is the one that I find myself I'm talking about with friends, trying to explain to them how bonkers it is and how much fun it is.
Yeah, this is the one I want everybody to watch, and I think you can enjoy it without having seen the shows that these characters all come from. I don't think you need that as a reference, especially at this point. Just hop in.
Yeah.
Just hop in.
Go for it. Was there any news from Legends this week?
Only that the November 19th episode, Tagumo Attacks, is a kaiju episode, which in and of itself is very fun, but it will also feature the return of Nora Dark.
Ooh, okay. All right, it's a couple weeks till that.
So I hope Ray gets all flustered and Twitter paid it and whatever. So yeah, good times.
All right. So next up is The Flash, Season 5, Episode 4, News Flash. A blogger named Spencer Young was able to hypnotize people into making her fake headlines come true and turned her sites to excess. Iris finally learned why Nora has been so cold to her since they met. Ralph assisted Sherlock in his search for Cicada and showed off his own detective skills. Last minute reveal, Cicada stumbled into his house after work and crushed a metal pole in his living room, while the glowing parasite in his shoulder made his veins turn black.
So I feel like I have mostly negative things to say about this episode, and I'm not sure if this is if you can't say something nice, just let Ed handle this segment.
Aww.
Sorry.
Well, okay. Let me see if I can address your concerns. What weren't you really into?
Well, I don't know that we need a narrative about an evil journalist at this moment in time. I don't think we need that. And I thought the way that the blogger and the evil conniving blogger and the snippiness to Iris, and I didn't enjoy a single second of that. Not a single second. So there's that. I can't believe I'm in a position where I'm defending Iris, but come on. What is this Iris can't cook nonsense? We have seen them cooking. Like, that's not Iris burns toast. Oh my God. No, what? No. Come on, Flash. You're better than this. Or are you? Actually, you're probably not. Sherlock is still not working for me as a character. If this truly is the Wells we get all season long. Yeah. I think those were the biggies for me. Was that...
Okay.
So knock them down, Ed.
All right, let's handle these one at a time. First off, I understand why you might be a little upset with the journalism angle. But you're kind of taking it personally. I thought that I thought that the storyline was well executed. I think fake news is a thing that people talk about these days. And this was an indirect way to attack that. It wasn't political at all. I think
that's true. I mean, it was very divorced, unlike Supergirl, which is so tied into everything happening. This was extremely divorced from actual real events. Agreed.
Yeah, and I think that was the best way to teach Nora a couple things. You know, we've already kind of got the sense that she's the kind of character who leaps before she looks. But she learned something about trust. You know, and how just because someone seems nice and interesting and cool, doesn't really mean that you can really be forthcoming with them. And, you know, especially when you have a secret like your powers. And you know, and she's, you know, Nora is navigating this world of being a superhero, and we learned this week that it was something that her mother tried her hardest to keep her away from.
And I gotta say, I was genuinely shocked by that. Like, I have been feeling bad for Iris because Nora has been so cold to her, and I've been like, what could possibly merit that? And then you got that reveal, and it's like, oh, actually, yeah, that reaction is appropriate. Continue,
Yeah.
Nora.
Yeah, and the thing I really like about this storyline is that everybody's right. You know?
Ooh, that's interesting, but you are right about that.
Yeah, is that Nora is right to be upset that this was kept from her. And you know, Iris is right to be upset that she's being blamed for something that she hasn't done yet. And I think Barry did the most boss move of backing up his wife. And I thought that was a moment where you can kind of see from Barry's perspective where, like, he probably understands why Nora's upset and he really feels for her, but if he defends her, then that's just going to sour his relationship with Iris, and then we may never get Nora. And
that is a catch-22.
Yeah, but the right thing to do as a husband is to stand behind your wife. And,
so agree. I was so pleased that he did that.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really mature moment, and something that was really hard to swallow, but I thought it was very well done, and I think it adds a whole new layer to the show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's well argued. I can see that. And I guess, admittedly, I do like that Sherlock calls Ralph Baby Giraffe.
Yes,
that makes me happy.
Yes, yeah. I think Sherlock is preposterous. I I don't know why they're keeping him around, but I really loved watching Ralph put him down and put him in his place.
Yes.
And being like,
yes,
hey man, I'm a pretty good detective on my own. And you really got to see, like, that, you know, he's not one of these standard you know, procedural cops who's like, I'm going to make wisecracks and follow hunches. He actually follows the evidence and really thinks through all of his conclusions.
Yeah, I enjoyed Ralph this week. Also, did we have Cisco this week? Like, I'm trying to remember anything Cisco did.
No, they said at the beginning that he's kind of, you know, he wanted to be alone, I guess, after last week at the blow up. Well, plus also, like, he can't.
Oh, right.
Plus also, like, they put out his obituary, so he can't be in public.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
So yeah.
I missed that little bit of business. I do have my all caps for this week was Iris describing Spencer Young as a junior reporter when she was at the newspaper. Iris was never not a junior reporter. What? How was someone junior to Iris? I don't. Wasn't.
Yeah. I think it's kind of Iris and Spencer didn't get along. And so she's obviously going to say, well, she was a junior reporter. Well, weren't you a junior reporter? And she didn't last long. Didn't you not last long? That's at the point.
That would have been much, much funnier if somebody had called her on it. Then I would have been all on board for that. My views on Iris are seesawing back and forth this season because I've been really feeling bad about how Nora treats her, and like Iris can cook, treat Iris better, but also, ugh.
And also, no one else is showing up to that softball game. Barry has really good friends.
Oh my God, Barry playing softball. That was the highlight.
Yeah. I've seen charity softball games. Yeah, it's like maybe your girlfriend if she feels like if she has nothing going on that day, because she has to and she wants to hang out with you. But yeah. So yeah, and Cicada. First off, why was there a metal pole in the middle of his apartment?
Listen, where the load bearing poles have to go is between you and your architect. Like,
and yeah, you should probably get that checked.
Yeah, maybe you should see a doctor, fella.
Yeah, just saying.
I do think meta tech is interesting. That is a cool spin. Spin, huh? Because she was spin in this. So that I enjoyed that. I could probably use a little bit more on Cicada at this point. I'm about ready for maybe more of his daily life or POV or something. Are you feeling the same way? So we get a little more peek into the villain before we go much further?
Yeah, I feel like what happened with Agent Liberty on Supergirl this week, it's about time for Flash to do that with Cicada this season. Like, maybe not that drastic, but I feel like we should start to get to know him a little better. I agree with you on that. And maybe it's just because we got that episode from Supergirl this season that it's, that it feels really fresh.
It's established a precedent. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, we're kind of getting dribs and drabs. We know he has a daughter. We know, but we still don't know like the technical reason why he's going after these metas.
But it looks like he's turning into a meta himself. Kel irony.
Yeah. We'll see.
We will see.
News?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, bad news. Jesse L. Martin is taking a medical leave of absence from the show. If you notice that he's mostly been sitting down this season, you are not wrong. Apparently he injured his back in the off season and is trying to take it easy. And he finally has just said, I need to be gone for a bit to recover. So we wish him really, really well and hope he takes the time he needs to recover. He is the best actor on the show and he will be greatly missed. Papa Joe, take all the time you need, but also come back to us when you're well because we will miss you.
Ditto.
Yeah, but it also does explain why he's been seated all season long. Let's see, the November 13th episode is the 100th episode, and we will see the return of a number of speedsters who want to get a piece of Barry. So I don't know exactly how many speedsters that means. I don't know if that means we're going to see Zoom or Reverse Flash or, will we see Teddy Sears again? Or, there's a lot of potential there. But that is coming up very soon because somehow, Ed, it's November.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Wow.
So that's coming up. I know.
Yeah. All right. All stuff to look
for. Wait. One more. November 20th is The Icicle Cometh. And that is going to feature a villain called Icicle who has cold powers. And also Caitlyn's dad is mentioned in the synopsis for that episode. So putting two and two together, does Caitlyn's dad have ice-based powers that she inherited? That seems like a logical leap to make, but we will find out on November 20th. So there you go. Okay.
All right. Stuff to look forward to. All right. Next up, Black Lightning. Season 2, Episode 4, The Book of Consequences, Chapter 4, Translucent Freak. Tempers flared as Jefferson argued with Anissa about how she helped the medical center. Jennifer struggled in therapy and tried ignoring texts from Khalil. Lynn was appalled at Dr. Jace as Dr. Jace began killing the pod children for data purposes. Jefferson became incensed with Principal Lowry's no-tolerance policy at Garfield High. Inspector Henderson had to deliver bad news to Jefferson that the case against Tobias Whale was too thin. Last minute reveal, after being freed, Tobias gave a toast at a celebration for the 100 gang.
Yet again, this is an exceptionally busy episode.
Yes, a lot going on here.
This show juggles more plot than any other CW show that we talk about.
Yeah, and yet I don't feel cheated. Like, I don't feel like...
No.
Yeah, nothing was given short shrift here. You know, we got... There wasn't a lot of school stuff, but we got enough of it. But yeah, and we got clarification that Jefferson is still teaching at Garfield High, although I don't know how much longer, because
and seems to be teaching history.
Yes, he's teaching history. Yeah, and I thought he did a good job breaking up that fight.
Oh yeah, so. That principal is a little... Isn't he kind of, like, too obvious for this show? This show has such nuance. And then this guy, you put this guy in charge of the school? I don't know. Like, I see what they're trying to do, but it's just sort of...
I mean...
lacking in the nuance I expect.
Yeah, but unfortunately, based on my experience, it's kind of what would happen. I mean, it is weird because I didn't realize that Garfield was a private school. Or they're kind of acting like it's a private school. You know, the idea of expulsion and everything. Like that is, 'cause as you know, I went to a private high school, and experienced a new principal coming in my freshman year, and his big thing was cleaning house, and would, you know, expel students for a lot of simple infractions. Not simple infractions, but basically, like, you know, if someone was caught stealing or caught with drugs, you were gone. And yeah, so you're right, it does seem a little over the top, but I can't say I'm surprised, and I can't say that it's not true to life.
Sure. I went to a public high school, and we also had expulsion, so I don't think that's a private school thing only. It is very extreme to do, because that leaves the kid who's expelled without, I mean, like, that's the school in your district. What do you do now? So it does happen, and there were some high-profile cases when I was in school of nearby jurisdictions expelling people for actually a very similar situation to what we saw on the show that night. Anyway, and between the uniforms and that, I can see where you kind of get that vibe. But I enjoy Jefferson's... I'm not enjoying it, but his defeat and his weariness at trying to make, you know, be the change and make the difference that he needs to be, and the new leadership undermining him at every step. I'm enjoying that component of storytelling this season so far. I feel his frustration.
Yeah. Not you know, just to say, you know, also the other frustration that he's getting from his family. Yeah. I mean, like, I understand Jennifer's upset, but the way that she just kind of, like, completely ignored him when he just asked a simple thing like how therapy's going. I mean, that's teen.
It's such a teenage girl thing.
Yeah, it's teenagers for you. But you know, and you know, it's you know, I mean, we've already talked about how he and Lynn kind of feel helpless with that situation and really don't know what to do. But what did you think of Jen's therapy?
You know, I'm enjoying it. I like the therapist, and I like what they're exploring with her. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and she really needed to get rid of Khalil's number. Like, she needed to block that number.
Yeah. New phone. Yeah, really. But, like, she's sitting next to him by the lockers at the end, so that's, you know, that's disappointing. It's disappointing. I kind of get it, though. I mean, I think they're setting it up in a way that we can see why Jennifer is being drawn to him. You know, you can kind of... It makes sense. It's not one of those things that they're doing for the purpose of plot, in my mind, but they actually are spelling out what would drive her to that. And I like that. I like the way that's going.
Yeah.
Can we talk really quickly about how the soundtrack remains fire emoji with the George Clinton, and we get the slow motion father-daughter superhero walk? I don't care how many times they do that. It is cool each time.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I love watching them defuse those bombs. Ugh, so good.
Yeah, and it's what's funny is I feel like that came. We haven't gotten as much like superhero stuff, but like when those moments come up in an episode, they're really cool. And I just thought that the way they worked together to evacuate that place, and even Gambi got to hold his own in a fight.
Oh yeah, don't mess with Gambi. Don't mess with an old tailor. He will take you out.
I thought he was really holding his own, and I was actually kind of disappointed when she got away.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, damn, he worked really hard. And
but you know what was even more disappointing?
What was
Miss
that?
Foudy died.
Yeah.
I was bummed.
Yeah, but I feel like you kind of like. There was really nowhere else for that storyline to go. You can't have her locked in a basement. First off,
it did feel like Gambi was like 2 steps away from some sort of Saw torture porn, woman in his basement strapped to a table thing. So it's probably for the best. But
yeah, and also like I don't know how you have Foudy locked in there, and then Anissa's just gonna stay at your place now over the weekend.
Don't mind the woman in the basement. It's consensual.
Yeah, and she's not just gonna find Mrs. Foudy and ask what the fuck's going on.
What? Gambi, do you have something to tell me? Gambi, I need to talk to you about something I saw in the basement. I'm here for you. I'm just concerned. So, like, what are you doing? Is this your intervention? We love you. Stop keeping women in your basement. Yeah.
Yeah. And Inspector Henderson with Tobias. I'm kind of disappointed, but it's almost like if your evidence was that thin and you didn't think you'd be able to charge him, why would you arrest him in the first place?
Yeah,
why?
Now he knows you're wise. What are you doing?
Yeah, it was disappointing. But the one thing it does do is Tobias is out in the open now, and it seems like he's going to really amp up the 100's activities. So, this is going to cause more trouble for our heroes.
Indeed, but if it means more slow motion superhero walk, that's fine.
Yeah, of course. So yeah. This show's very, very, very complicated. This was another. I had to use all 6 markers. But yeah, did I cover everything? Did we cover everything? Is there anything else?
So.
Okay.
No, I think that was everything.
All right.
Other than that, Lynn's partner, Dr. Jace, is terrible. She's terrible. That's
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man. Jeez. Wow. Okay. All right. So let's move on to our final episode. And you ready? You excited? You ready?
Super excited.
Super excited. All right. So, Titans, Season 1, Episode 4, Doom Patrol. After the convent explosion, Rachel met up with Garfield Logan, who could transform into a green tiger, and brought Rachel to home to introduce her to some very special friends he lives with. Corey tried to learn more about Dick while they hunted for leads on Rachel. Last minute reveal, the Chief, now in a wheelchair, watched the sunrise.
Okay, which wheelchair-bound older gentleman came first to collect a series of misfits or mutants, if you will? The Chief or Professor X? I'm genuinely asking which one came first.
I believe I would have to check. I will have to check. But I believe Doom Patrol came first.
Is that? I feel like that happened. Like Marvel, DC does it first, and then Marvel comes along and it's just like jazz hands better. Like, is that?
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Okay. Okay, Ed, this is my favorite episodes of Titans so far. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed this. And maybe it's because nobody punched a window or had a fork impaled in their hand. Like, I feel like the gratuitous for the sake of violence was toned down, and it was just fun. And I understand you can't get an episode that introduces new, quirky, interesting people every time, but damn, I loved this episode.
Oh, wow. I just looked it up. Doom Patrol was in June of 1963, made their first appearance. Do you know when X-Men made their first appearance?
August of 1963.
September.
Really? So did the comic houses move that quickly to where you could rip it off, or was that in the ether and they were sort of all working in that direction?
I mean, Jack Kirby put out a monstrous amount of content. That guy could draw 6 pages a day, but he was writing about 40 books. Theoretically, but I don't think Doom Patrol. But here's the thing: is that you didn't know whether or not publishers didn't know whether or not a comic book was popular or how well it was selling for months out. So probably not. So
it's more likely, if anything, that there was a leak that, they're working on this. Oh, interesting. Maybe we should position ourselves similarly, with the speculation that it might take off, maybe.
Yeah. And also, Doom Patrol was part of My Excellent Adventure, which was an anthology book that had a bunch of stories in it. And X-Men started with their own series. So
okay, all right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So what did you think about Doom Patrol? Was that true to what you were imagining? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was weird. It was really weird.
In what way?
Just the characters, the backstories, Elastigirl. I think just Elastigirl. That whole thing was really weird.
By really weird, you mean super cool and interesting and fun, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It was really strange. What's funny is you got Brendan Fraser and Matt Bomer's voices as Robot Man and Negative Man, respectively. However, you had a different actor playing Dr. Niles Calder. Timothy Dalton is going to play him in the show. And it made sense because, this episode was shot well before they cast Timothy Dalton. I guess they wanted to go with a name, and that's why they recast the part. But I thought this actor did just fine.
Well, he was fine. I think Timothy Dalton is going to be. I remember him as the bad guy in
the Rocketeer.
No.
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. Oh my God. Thank you. Police swans. That's all I could come up with. Shooting your gun sideways. Yeah. I think of him in Hot Fuzz. He was scary in that. So that level of maybe menace is going to be welcome there.
Yeah, definitely. And, and that's the kind of thing with these characters is that he's doing these great things to these people, but it's really dangerous, the treatments that he uses, and he probably would have killed Rachel. And he's lucky Rachel didn't kill him.
Yeah. Maybe we all learned something from that. I thought Brendan Fraser's voice performance was fantastic. I have not enjoyed him in anything so much in so long. I mean, because he just hasn't really been in things as much. And so that was super great to hear that charm and that Fraserness. And Matt Bomer, when we saw Negative Man at the stove, I was like, I don't think that's Matt Bomer's. I'm a student of Magic Mike, and I don't think. And then he turned around, I was like, no, that's not his butt. No, that's a body double. Nope. But I still think it's a waste to have two such charming, charismatic actors that we're not going to get to see other than in flashbacks. But the voice work was really fantastic on both their parts.
Yeah, and I actually thought that the first scene where you see Negative Man, where he's, was it Thunderstruck? There was the song that he's blasting and he's dancing while he's making way too much food.
Or was it?
Or was it? I thought that scene was fantastic. And all the stuff that they did with food, you know, not just even that, like you get halfway into that scene where the chief is talking with Rachel and realizing they're having an enormous dessert table.
Oh, it's goals. It's total goals. And then Elastigirl comes down and starts like grabbing all the food. I'm like, that looks good. That looks good. Then she pours gravy all over it. And I was like, what? You just ruined it. I mean, that's not, yeah. She's got the spaghetti and the big hunk of some kind of meat. Oh, it was so great. I haven't seen such feasting since like Pan's Labyrinth, honestly.
But did she ruin it? Did she?
I personally would not put gravy on spaghetti. That's just a me thing. You do you.
I know. But like you've had Swedish meatballs.
That's a good point. You make a compelling argument.
To me, that is the dinner time equivalent to when Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers just loads up his breakfast plate full of eggs and waffles and bacon and sausage and just pours syrup all over all of it.
Oh, that I have no problem with. That makes total sense to me. But the gravy, for some reason, was just a step too far.
So yeah.
So we didn't get a text, or we didn't get a tweet or an email about this, but we got a text from my husband, the insomniac, at 5 this morning. He very much wanted to point out for the podcast the pinball collection. Oh yeah, y'all knew this was coming. The pinball talk. The Doom Patrol pinball collection actually has a theme in the machines. The Twilight Zone 1993, the Addams Family 1992, and then Dialed In 2017 are all designed by Pat Lawler. Interestingly, Lawler has many other designs, but Twilight Zone and the Addams Family are his highest regarded 90s pins, and then Dialed In from last year is his kind of swan song. It's his most recent one. So he's a classic pinball designer, one of the best in the industry. And so whoever's picking those out has excellent taste. And I don't know if it's a coincidence that all three are by the same designer. He has two other hugely popular ones. Several others, but he's got Earthshaker and Whirlwind. And if we see those pop up later, it's not a coincidence. Somebody's a Pat Lawler fan entirely. Anyway, his question is, the chief, whose power is genius intellect, runs the place. Are these pins the chief has selected? However, he seems serious, and Gar loves pins, so maybe Gar chose them. Or was it Negative Man? He wants to know. Somebody help out my husband. What? Who chose these pinball?
My guess is Gar.
You think?
Because one, it wasn't just like, hey, isn't this stuff cool? He knows all about it. And also when you have that vintage Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein poster on the wall, and it's 1948, it's a classic. It's not old, it's a classic. He's right.
That's true.
That had a special place for me. I just saying. And that he seems to be really into it, and I'm sure Niall, because I feel like it seemed like the basement, that was where Gar hangs out. Like that's almost like his room. Mm-hmm. So my guess is that Niles is probably fronting the money for that stuff, but I think Gar is the one who's curating it.
He's the Lawler fan. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So Jason and I saw Pat Lawler speak at the Pinball Convention 2 weeks ago. He's great. He's a genius. But he did a giveaway, and we actually won a signed back illuminated panel for Dialed In, which was the other machine that was in that basement, signed by him. So we have a back panel signed by him. So we're going to add that to our collection someday. So when we have that, we can put up the signed Pat Lawler. Anyway. Yeah. So I met the dude who's okay. This is not a show about pinball. Moving on. Do we have to talk about anything other than the Doom Patrol? I don't want to.
We probably should mention Corey and Dick.
Fine.
That was the other thread line here. It was just some basic detective work, and Corey got to dig into Dick a little bit and kind of understand a little bit of how he ticks. And we don't know. She might be a psychologist. She doesn't know. I didn't think those scenes were bad. But
no, they just weren't as they didn't pop as much for me. But I enjoyed those two actors' performances. Actually, the Dick Grayson performance is really growing on me, and Corey I think is great. I'm super loving her, and I love when he suggested that maybe she wouldn't be terribly incognito in her getup. She was just like, wow, I always have been. I mean, I love it.
yeah, and I think we're at the point now. Next episode, she needs a change of outfit. Like
she really, as fun as it's been, those clothes have to be a little gamey by now.
Yeah. Time to change it up. So yeah. All right. So that was the episode.
I'm looking to see if there's anything else. Nah, it was great. That was a lot of fun. Good times.
All right.
Oh, wait. The green tiger was super too. I thought that was really kind of well done. I like that it always shifts away before he fully transforms. And I don't know if that's because he's going to be naked or the effects are too much. But I love that Beast Boy doesn't enjoy blood. It grosses him out. And so he didn't want to bite anybody. I really like Beast Boy. I feel like I want to protect him at all costs.
Yeah, and they kind of establish here that the tiger is pretty much all he turns into right now, and
because that's all the budget we have right now. Okay, so just back off. Okay,
but I'm going to look forward to as he explores his powers. Maybe he can shift into other animals too. So yeah,
maybe.
Maybe. All right. So let's get on to news for other shows.
Okay, well, as per usual, we have a cavalcade of information about the crossover coming to the Arrowverse on the CW. Okay. We got a first look at Batwoman and Supergirl in costume together. They look awesome.
Yes, they do.
Yay.
Yes, they do.
Looking forward to that. We also got a better look at Monitor than we even had last week. And he continues to look fantastic. And I have now looked up a picture of him from the comics, and that does look quite spot on.
Yeah, it's like exact. It's really good.
We have a shot of them filming, and we see what looks like two Supermen. We have our blue-suited Superman, and then we have the black-suited Superman, who looks like he's got Flash, Barry Allen in some sort of chokehold. So, evil Superman?
Maybe. It is called Elseworlds.
That sounds bad. I don't know that I like the thought of an evil Superman. No.
Yeah, no one likes that thought.
No.
No.
Let's see. Mark Guggenheim has confirmed in a tweet that we will not see Batman in the crossover, which is not a huge surprise.
No, kind of
because we have so many incarnations of Batman. Like, I don't need Batman in the crossover. So, but officially, don't keep your hopes up. Bob Fraser has been cast as a character named Psycho Pirate. And tell me about Psycho Pirate. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Psycho Pirate is someone he basically gives people hallucinations, and he can control their psyche. And he has this, weird red and black outfit, but a gold mask that completely covers his face. It's just a blank gold mask. And he's a very important part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that is a very important casting.
And as is Monitor, right? Monitor is a Crisis character?
Yes. So, yeah, keep an eye out for those guys.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Is that, is he just in general a DC Universe character, or is he associated with Flash or with, is there a particular...
you know what? I just know him as a Universe character, but I'm sure he started someplace. Okay. Either in Titans or as a Flash villain, something like that. But yeah, Psycho Pirate.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last thing, this is more interesting to me than anything else, or than anyone else, but they're filming scenes for Gotham for the crossover in Chicago right now as we're recording, basically. There are shots of GCPD cars on the street, and they have a Wayne Enterprises sign up on one of the buildings that I think was one that they used in the Dark Knight Chicago filming, whether that was the post office or I'm not enough of a Chicago historian historian to know what building it is. But that's like a couple hours away from me. I wanted to hop in my car just to be like, I'm in front of a GCPD car. What? But that's cool. I like it when they use Chicago for Gotham. I think, I don't know, and you probably feel differently and keep Gotham in New York, but I kind of like the Chicago Gotham.
Hey, that's cool. I've gone a couple blocks from me and see GCPD cars parked in a chained off lot. So yeah.
I mean, way to rub that in. Thanks.
Well, no. Now you get to share in it. That's cool.
Well, it is kind of funny that your two DCTV report hosts are adjacent to the two prevailing Gotham locations, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
We do this for you. All right. Anyway, that's it for the crossover this week.
All right. Let's kick into high gear. We don't have a lot of time.
I'll be fast. Lucifer, we have a full rundown of the episode titles that we know so far, some of which we have talked about, some of which we haven't, but episodes 1 through 8 will be called. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Everything's okay. Somebody's been reading Dante's Inferno. O ye of little faith, Father. All About Eve. Expire erect. Orgy pants to work. Devil is as devil does. And super bad boyfriend. And so help me if that isn't Lucifer and Chloe, or possibly Lucifer and Eve, honestly, because of who they cast as Eve, because she's just fire. Yeah, I'll flip a table. Anyway. Yay, Lucifer. I cannot wait to hear when that's actually going to premiere. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, I hope it's soon.
But
I hope it's soon.
I'm also a little worried because Netflix is canceling things left and right. So, like, everybody, when it premieres, please watch Lucifer.
Please. Yes, please do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, moving on to Gotham. Speaking of premiere date, Gotham is coming back January 3rd. So mark your calendars. That's going to be, I think, what everybody's going to be. We're going to be just over our hangovers. We're going to be easing. We're going to be writing 19 on our checks rather than 18. And we're going to sit down to the premiere of Gotham. And the final episodes are going to run 12 rather than 10 episodes. So they gave it a 2-episode order increase, which is cool.
All right. And it's premiering on a Thursday. So we can,
okay.
plan that.
Cool.
Yeah. So, for the first time, it may, actually, no, Lucifer was conflicting with Supergirl last week, but, we may still have a show that, a bunch of shows on the air and none of them are on at the same time.
That would be nice.
Yes.
A little bit of casting news. Jamie Murray has been cast as Teresa Walker. Doesn't seem to be somebody from the comics. She's going to be a main antagonist for Gordon. So that could be fun. Jamie Murray, you may know from Dexter.
Oh, I remember her from Dexter.
I thought she was fun on Dexter.
Yeah.
I super loved her in the British show Hustle, where she played a con artist. Ugh, such a fun show. Mm-hmm. I like this actress a lot. She's sort of elegant. She's very British. She can be evil. She can be exasperating. I can't wait to see what they do with her on Gotham.
Yeah, I also remember she played H.G. Wells on Warehouse 13.
Warehouse 13.
when they still called it the Sci-Fi Channel. And when it was still spelled SCIFI. Back in those lofty days.
Back when spelling still counted.
Yes. And and between that and Dexter, she's someone who is very beautiful and also can be very scary and a great villain. So I think that's if she's going to be involved in Gotham, I'm excited.
Yeah, same. That's exactly how I feel. I think she's an interesting actress who carries menace, but like that beautiful plant that will sting you, like plant sting. I guess I'm thinking Gotham Poison Ivy. Same though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Couple of casting. Actually, everything else we have now is casting. Swamp Thing. We have Victoria Madsen cast as Maria Sunderland. So presumably a woman who carries an air of authority, competence, intelligence. I mean, that's what you get Virginia Madsen for, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Loved her in Sideways. And it's. So I think that's cool.
That cast is shaping up really well. Now, if they could please cast Swamp Thing in human form, that's the casting news in the universe of DC TV casting that I really want to hear.
Who is Alec Holland?
Tell us. Let's see. Moving on to Stargirl.
Stargirl.
We have
music.
Angelica Washington, who's been cast, but they have not said who she's going to be. It's a secret role. They're not telling us. I don't know if that means it would give it away. Is it a surprise? Is there some reason they're not telling us? And can you think of a character who, knowing the identity, would ruin it?
I can't think of someone specifically, just like based on this show, it's probably someone from the Justice Society. I can't tell you who though, because I can't think of anyone specific that would fit that description. So,
well, I guess we will find out when that premieres sometime in 2019.
Yeah.
Let's see. Finally, Pennyworth
music
is casting Jason Fleming as an antagonist, Lord Harwood.
Oh.
How would we know Jason Fleming, Ed?
Jason Fleming was in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He's the guy, usually has a beard and flaming red hair. You would notice he's been a staple of Guy Ritchie and Matthew Vaughn's movies over the years. He was in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. In Snatch, he's one of the pikers. He's one of the guys who's holding back Brad Pitt as Brad Pitt's in his underwear trying to reach his mother, who is burning alive in her trailer. Probably my favorite scene of his is in Kick-Ass, when he's the doorman at the mobster's headquarters, who Hit Girl walks up to dressed in a little schoolgirl's outfit and just shoves a gun with a silencer straight into his mouth.
I'm sorry. You said Brad Pitt as underwear, and I floated up out of my body, and I didn't hear anything else after that. Sorry. Yeah. So that is all the news I have for you this week.
All right. That was the news rundown. Thank you for that. Now it's just time for our winners for the week.
You want me to go first?
Actually, let me go first.
All right, go for it.
I've been going back and forth. For a while, I thought it was going to be 2 marker shows because there were 3 episodes this week where I only had to use 2 markers. But I think it's going to be that basement arcade in Titans. That I talked about the Abbott and Costello poster. Garfield really talking about his collection. The idea of it's not old, it's a classic, and everyone should see it. And by the way, Abbott and Costello, we were talking about earlier, that canon of pop culture that everyone should be literate in. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is one of those things. Even if you don't see the other Universal monster movies, you should see Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Just saying.
Just saying. They also had, I didn't mention it, but the Pac-Man arcade party cabinet was down there, which requires an 8-way joystick for diagonal movement. So that was, they really put a lot of thought into the stuff that was in there. The toy that he takes out of her hands, I think was
that was Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. That was good stuff.
Yeah,
and that's funny because my winner of the week is Dinner with the Doom Patrol. Like, if you win a ticket to eat dinner with the Doom Patrol, go. It's going to be the best time of your life.
Yeah, and also like, when Rachel reaches out to Elastigirl and like touches her and tells her she's not afraid of her, oh come on! You cannot tell me that everyone else, that no one was just pouring tears at that point.
You've got empathy, you've got delicious carbs. You have poor Robot Man who's like, how's that taste? Is that good? Tell me. Mm-hmm. I want to eat delicious food and describe it to people. I want to be like, yeah, it's crispy, but inside it's tender, and the flavors explode on my tongue, and it's amazing. I want to have dinner with the Doom Patrol. I don't ask for much. Yeah.
And like, when Rachel said that she would dance with Cliff, I don't know why. Why couldn't Larry just turn on the music and let's just dance? Let's just have that moment of the entire Doom Patrol just having a little dance off. I thought that would have been
fun. My God. Well, now I'm disappointed we didn't get a dance party. Because, Negative Man was dancing. Robot Man wanted to dance. Rachel would have. I'm sure Gar would have joined in. I guess we have a whole show. We have a whole Doom Patrol show. Maybe they'll have a dance party that they close every week with.
Maybe. We can only hope.
So essentially, Titans was our winner of the week, is what we're saying.
So yeah. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much. We're running kind of long, but that's
we had
okay.
6 episodes. We're only human.
Yeah, we had 6 episodes. All right. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Thanks so much for listening. That's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show in your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!